And I'm not here to declare victory on the economy. I'm here to say we have a plan that's turning things around incredibly quickly. We have more work to do. For example, does anyone here think the federal tax system is fair? Raise your hand. We're going to make it fair by eliminating loopholes for crypto traders, hedge fund managers.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. We had a little bit of a dippy dip this morning. You could see right here there was a little bit of a freak out. Now today is the last day of the month, so what happens today is going to be very significant for the price of Bitcoin as far as the monthly close is concerned. But if you did miss the news this morning, I will just go over it really quick. Why did we see this candle wick down here? Well, actually what happened was, so the SEC came out and the Wall Street Journal posted about it, saying that the SEC was saying that the current spot Bitcoin ETF submissions are inadequate. Gensler's SEC takes swipe at the likes of BlackRock and Fidelity and others despite increased surveillance adjustments via NASDAQ and EDX. So some people are like, great. So now this just completely, just puts a nail in the coffin for all of our ETF dreams, right? Well, not necessarily. Because, and I'll get to the charts in just a minute, but you can see right here, TED Talk Macros was saying, yeah, but BlackRock can still refile for the Bitcoin spot ETF. He says this is just noise, ignore it. So the important thing here is that the SEC told the exchange that it returned the filings because they didn't name the spot Bitcoin exchange with which they are expected to have a surveillance sharing agreement or provide enough information about the details of those surveillance arrangements. So he's saying that this could even be interpreted that the SEC are indicating to BlackRock what they need to do to get this across the line and get it approved, which is also quite positive, right? So just to kind of go over the FUD real quick, I have a lot of other stuff to talk about in this video, but reminder, the SEC approved a 2x leverage futures Bitcoin ETF just last week. Today, they are further complicating a spot Bitcoin ETF while arguing with the CBO, NASDAQ, BlackRock, and Fidelity. The SEC is not a serious regulator. I wasn't going to do it, guys, but roll the clip.
Over 70% of the crypto market is Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash. Why did I name those four? They're not securities.
How would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
So we already know in the U.S. and in many other jurisdictions that 3/4 of the market are not ICOs or not what would be called securities.
Without speaking to anyone.
Is Ether a commodity or a security?
In 2018, the Securities and Exchange Commission has said, regardless of what it might have been in 2014, it's now sufficiently decentralized that we'll consider it not a security.
It depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the facts and the law, sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge. And again, it depends on the facts and the law. And if Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
Hey, maybe this is why Bitcoin Cash is pumping so much today, right? Okay, all right, let's get back. So that was the little intro. That's everything that's going on today. So getting back to the actual video itself, I do want to ask the question, and this is an interesting theory. Could a Bitcoin ETF actually be negative for Bitcoin price short term? And it's not even because of buy the rumor, sell the news. It's actually because of just a very realistic technical reason, right? So I want to ask whether or not we could expect some kind of a dump if we got this Bitcoin ETF. Also, the fact that the IMF has pretty much come out and just shamed the United States for, weaponizing the dollar in the way that it has. And you've actually noticed massive crypto adoption more broad, even with people just accepting salaries and things like that. So big news from the UK, and also big day for Bitcoin. We'll go over the critical levels. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, let's dive in super quick. What is going on with these charts? So we actually were able to maintain above the heart line of the downward sloping trend. So that was, you could see that, price was bought back up pretty quick. It did dip slightly below this low, but right around that 29,500, we scooped it back up again. So it is showing that interest. Of course, we are still on this very critical resistance. But that being said, if we come over here, really all we got to do in the next day, let's take it a day at a time, right? We're going to get that monthly candle close. So all we have to do is get below the previous close. Now, obviously the previous month was a red candle, so we can take the open of that month, which was the close of the previous month, which was $29,240. So as long as we can pretty much stay above the $29,240 level, but within the next 24 hours, that would be absolutely massive for the bulls. And again, we are still on this uptrend. You can see all these Heiken-Ashi candles. They're all green. This is showing that we have that momentum. I've showed you many, many times the potential for this price target. Even if we do the test on the breakout, you could be looking all the way anywhere from $47,000 to $57,000, right? Of course, there is that potential chance that we do come down, retest some of these levels. But, again, if you guys do want to learn how to trade all of this, obviously I have tutorials popping up above. There's over $56,000 in bonuses. Check that out below. But, because it's the end of the month, I'm not going to go too crazy on this. We're above the monthly EMA ribbon. We are above the weekly EMA ribbon, and we're above the 100 EMA. If we come over here, again, we are still below this trend line over on the basic linear chart, essentially. But really, again, it's still a positive. It's a net positive. And then all you have to do after this candle close is just have a nice close above 32,000. And that's it. I would say we're off to the races, guys. Interestingly enough, just wanted to point this out. The stocks, S&P specifically, has reversed, and it is hitting that very, very legacy resistance, right? Is it going to act as resistance again? I don't know, but it seems like this time Bitcoin kind of front ran everybody else, right? So let's talk about what is going on right now. Let's discuss the sort of potential, could an ETF be negative? Now, this is an interesting insight. So they talk about the fact that shares of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which right now is arguably one of the largest instruments that they're using, but they're not freely created, nor do they have a redemption plan. Due to this inefficiency, there are large price differences when compared to the fund's actual Bitcoin holding, right? You see these crazy premiums and these insane discounts, 30%, 40%, right? It's crazy. In contrast, if you had an ETF, it would give the market maker the ability to issue and redeem shares, ensuring that the premium or discount is typically small. So how does this play into the factor? Well, maybe not necessarily if we get a BlackRock ETF, although it could affect it. But let's theorize if, let's say, Grayscale was able to convert their trust into an ETF, right? So the share price discount versus its contents will eventually trend to zero as redemptions and arbitrage opportunities arise if the SEC grants the asset manager permission. In this scenario, the odds are that a considerable amount of Bitcoin could enter the market as investors will finally be able to exit their position. The only true question is how much of the $18 billion will flow into other Bitcoin-related instruments or get sold on exchanges. So it's just something to consider. They say in any case, there's a good chance that a spot Bitcoin ETF approval will produce significant sell pressure from Grayscale's GBTC conversion, as Bitcoin that's been locked for 3 to 8 years could re-enter the market. So, I've heard a lot of doom and gloom. I've heard the Mt. Gox, getting released and this getting released. And I mean, really, it could affect it. It could dump the price. But when you have that bullish momentum, when you have that narrative, it usually tends to just get bought right back up again. And I do believe that we are starting to get into that part of the cycle. So SEC versus Coinbase, that's slated for July 13th for any of you that are interested. Speaking of the, the US, well, we have the International Monetary Fund's executive director for Russia, saying that the US's decision to lock out certain countries, and we already know this, from global payment systems is forcing many nations to look for a substitute currency. The blatant use by the West as a weapon of international trade, finance, as well as the dollar and the euro itself, makes the fragmentation of the world economy not only inevitable, but also irreversible. Big mistakes we made. The American, and I hate when they say the Americans, right? Because like we all voted for that, right? You know, like, anyway. The Americans themselves have created a situation where the search for alternatives to the dollar has inevitably started. We're seeing it happen in Iran, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and they're looking to trade with the yuan. In May, China said that they did dozens of deals settling around $582 billion worth of global trades in the yuan. Now, obviously, this is turning countries to alternative fiat, but what's happening with crypto? Well, before we get into it, I'm not going to play this video because it's 6 minutes, but this is the former leader of the UK Brexit Party, and he says that 7 banks have refused to let him have an account with absolutely no reason. They haven't given him any type of reason, right? So using banking as a weapon, using fiat as a weapon, this is why you're seeing people switch to Bitcoin. In fact, this is crazy, but a rise in salaries paid in Bitcoin is actually currently happening right now. They say as employees opt for crypto amid economic uncertainty. Human resource industry executives have noted that employees are willing to receive their salaries in Bitcoin, given the current hyperinflation and political conundrum. They said recent bank failures and volatility among fiat are shifting people to even just opt for things like stable coins, right? When we had that issue with Circle USDC, that had nothing to do with crypto. That was because people who had crypto couldn't cash out their crypto into fiat because the banks were collapsing because they didn't have enough money because they practiced fractional reserve banking, which is hilarious because they're worried about manipulation on exchanges with the reserves and you don't even have enough money in the bank to anyway. So Michael Brooks, CEO and co-founder, little rant, of Golance noted that the factors such as growing crypto education, increased acceptance of the asset as a legitimate payment system, etc. These developments, countries such as the Caribbean, for example, they face more currency turbulence and have outdated banking systems, so they have looked to alternatives like Bitcoin. El Salvador has looked to alternatives like Bitcoin. Data from deals showed that the highest level of crypto payments obviously came from Latin America, not surprised, notorious for its high inflation rates, with 54% of crypto withdrawals between January and May of 2023. 54%. And a lot of the crypto trading has moved outside of the US. In fact, I just saw a report that said it was over 85%. So the US is not only having less and less and less influence on the global fiat system, but it's also having less and less and less influence on the global crypto ecosystem, right? And look at, for example, the UK, the Financial Services and Markets Act of 2023 is a bill that recognizes cryptocurrency trading as a regulated financial activity. So it received the so-called Royal Assent on Thursday, I guess that's what it's called. So it recognizes cryptocurrencies as cryptographically secured digital representations of value. It enables the regulation of crypto assets for safe adoption. It serves as an acknowledgement of the growing legitimacy of digital assets, something that is becoming increasingly crucial in countries worldwide. And the move indicates the UK's ambition to become a hub for crypto innovation. The UK may position itself soon to be the Singapore of Europe. But don't worry, guys. Biden is totally making sure that there's no tax loss harvesting in crypto, right? Give me a break. So ending on some good news before we get on out of here. Coming soon, guys. Everyone's getting on the bandwagon. So, the train is leaving. These guys can do what they want. The SEC can keep playing their silly little games. But at the end of the day, adoption is inevitable. Mastercard, worldwide, they're set to launch their multi-token network product, signaling the company's increasing focus on digital assets. Per the announcement, the MTN, the multi-token network, aims to make transactions within the digital asset and blockchain ecosystem secure, scalable, interoperable, etc. So Mastercard is getting involved. Mastercard is looking to have a multi-token network, maybe having different, underlying blockchains doing the conversions. Who knows what the possibilities of what they could do. Now, do we need Mastercard? No. But do you know how many people use Mastercard? Do you know how many people would love to just use their already existing Mastercard account or Mastercard, whatever card that they have, and be able to convert cryptocurrencies? Of course, they're going to have, anti-money laundering, KYC, and all that. But they're saying the beta version is going to be available starting in the UK. I'm surprised it's not in the US this summer, acting as a test bed for developing live pilot applications and use cases with financial institutions. So that is it for me today, guys. As I said, in a nutshell, really, if we just have a look right here, for the most part, we just want to have that candle close. That's really all I'm looking for. So, getting back to this monthly, really, you just want to close essentially above 28,000. 29,240. So as long as Bitcoin can stay above $29,240 by the end of today, that means that we will have put in a higher green monthly candle, and then we'll continue to assess the rest of the situation from there. So it is, of course, the July 4th weekend over here. So hopefully you guys are having some fun, going to some barbecues, being safe out there. I will keep updating you as I see necessary and fit. Make sure that you guys get subscribed if you're not. Make sure that if you don't have the bell notification on, put it on, time-sensitive alerts. Also, make sure that you take advantage of these free tutorials popping up right here, right now. $56,000 in bonuses below. And if you're having difficulty with KYC, there are decentralized below, and I'm always on a lookout for others. So thanks again. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.